Hello, this is High Priestess Key 333 coming to do your forecast, okay, for the week of the 14th, which was yesterday, July the 14th, through the end of this week. So let me look at the actual dates, family. We're talking about the until like the 20th this month, right? So, which is July. And I told you guys on my planetary warnings and so forth. So I'm not going to go into a lot of deep. Go back to that video and I talk about the whole month of July, the whole up until August, right? How it's like a very tremendous time in this month, and the warnings and things of such. But some of those things are going to be repeated within this week because this week is a very, very, very trying time. Okay, we will see a lot of negative things and positive things because it's duality in it all, right? So I want to bring that to awareness with you guys. I always on this channel, High Priestess Key 333 is to give you the knowledge, the understanding, and the wisdom about your planets, planetary alignment, the moon phases, okay, which is what you should, and the universal laws and spiritual astrology. And here we speak towards the Vedic and the true sidereal astrology. So it won't be the Western, okay, which is normally what a lot of you'll get tremendously everywhere on the web and on the internet and so forth. But you will not probably get a lot of true sidereal and Vedic astrology from people because that's the Eastern astrology, which is actually what it truly is, the accuracy of astrology and astronomy, as well as what you can see when you look in the sky with your physical two eyes, as well as your third eye, in reference of the spiritual astrology that comes from our ancestors, the ancient ancestors, the shamans, and so forth. Okay. But you must be tapped in to understand that the Western sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, will move things and shift things in reference of the degrees to keep you out of alignment. Because when you're out of alignment, you can't be as powerful as you should be. Okay. But that is the doctrine that has been hidden from most of the collective. All right. So the deception runs wild, family. Okay. The truth is shunned. Okay. So I'm here to give you a piece of the verdict, the true sidereal, as well as the spiritual astrology from the ancestors. All right. I'm not going to try to keep it this long. I'm going to hit straight to the points. Definitely talking a lot about Mars and K2 since they both are in Leo and they both are coming into contact with each other very strongly this week. So that is like, right. And so I'll talk about some of the nakshatras that it'll be in and what you should do, give you some advice, right, from the ancestors and from the planetary alignment, and let you know how serious those planets are and how wicked this energy could get, but also how prosperous it could get. Because guess what, when you're doing good, that's what you're going to get. When you do in low vibrational energy, you're going to get just that, right? So first and foremost, I like to let your eyes see. So you can go and do this as well. Look it up, pull it up, and look for yourself in reference of hold on, family. They changed the way you share. It's really weird. Let me see, present. Oh, okay, there it go. I'm like, dang, they changed it on StreamYard. So forgive me, family. I'm trying to just find a way to share it with you guys. Here we go. Boom. All right, so here we are. Let me refresh it for you. Of course, I always tell you, you guys can go to the skylive.com, which is the go to the planets. This is the live complete guide of the solar system in the night sky of what you can see at this time. It gives you the longitude, the sunrise, the sunset. This is on the 15th of July, which is today. And it also gives you in reference of the constellation of what it exactly is in. And it also gives you your time, which you can go and change that. You can change the location, however you want to do, right? But it will show you where the planets is at this time. It has a tracker on here, so you can go to the tracker. You can see in the sky, like if we were looking out in the sky, these are all the constellations. It'll give you the whole breakdown, family. All right, you can change it to wherever you are. All right. Okay, so let's look and see what the planets are still currently in. The sun is still in Gemini. This is why in the Truesidereal and the Vedic, they still advise people that are in July at this time that they are true sun Geminis, just like myself. Okay, the moon is right now in Aquarius. Mercury is in Cancer. Venus is in Taurus. Mars is in Leo. And what I have realized based off of doing my research is that Uranus family has not turned transit into Gemini yet. Okay, so that was not right. Okay, when I picked that up from someone, but that then I went and looked at the true sidereal and the Vedic and looked in reference of what's in the true sky with my two eyes, and you'll see it because it's actually what I've researched, and it's not. Mars is in Leo, of course. We talk about this a lot because this is the energy of that aggressiveness that's been happening. Jupiter is still in Gemini. Okay, it has not transit to Cancer yet at all. Saturn is in Pisces, of course. Uranus is still in Taurus. Okay, let's look at the tracker. Okay, here is Uranus. Okay, here is Uranus. All right. As you can see, it's still in the constellation of Taurus, and it gives how far and where it is in the distance in reference of the Earth. But I also yeah, this is the one I like. Okay, this one is the star map. So you see where it is. It actually has Taurus. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. Okay, there it is. I've kind of like blew it up. But if you look right here, it's the Taurus energy that's still here in this area. Um, if you come to this website, you'll see the TU. TU means Taurus, and it, Uranus sits. Oh, and it also has it here, Northern Taurids, Northern Taurids. But Northern Taurids actually means, sorry, family, I don't know why I did that. Okay, Northern Taurids is the constellations. Okay, those are actually the stars, the constellations in the sky that's in around that energy of that zodiac. I'm sorry, or that planet. Um, is Uranus. Uranus sits right in the middle of it, so it has not moved from Taurus energy. Uranus. So that's some Western stuff to get you all out of alignment and make you feel like something has changed. But really, in actuality, Uranus is still in Taurus. Okay. And so it kind of assists with the energy that's here where we have Venus that's still in Taurus. Okay. So if you look on the sky map, you'll see they're close. Look at Uranus. Okay, let me blow it up slowly. Okay. Wait, let me show y'all. Let me show y'all. Okay, there we go. Look, Uranus is here, Venus is here. Okay. Let me see if I can blow it up so you can see the Tauran energy that's on it. Okay. I hope you guys can see that if you look real. Let me see if I can do it where it's like full screen. Okay. You see here it says Northern Taurids. There's Uranus energy. Okay. Here's Venus. Both of them are in the Tauran energy, which is close together in the sky. So look at it says it up here. TAU, that's Taurus constellation. It even gives you the pinpointed down energy. Okay, you could change this and put it to what you want it to be, but this is still going to be the same thing. It's the sky. Okay, but at least you're able to see that, you know. So I wanted to make sure I showed you. I wanted to make sure that I showed you how Uranus, how they do in the Western. So it's not to say that, it's more accurate with the true sidereal and the Vedic family. I mean, I don't know how much more to show you to place your eyes on it so you can see, right? Here's Neptune still in Pisces. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna stop sharing. All right, and I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about that. So that we know the sun is still in Gemini. We know the moon right now is in Aquarius. We know Mars is in Leo. We know Mercury is in Cancer. I'm looking at all of them on the screen so I can reiterate it back to you. We know Jupiter is in Gemini. We know Venus is still in Taurus. We know Uranus is still in Taurus. We know the Saturn, um, and K2. No, Saturn and Neptune are both in Pisces. We know Rahu is in Aquarius right now, and K2 is in Leo. We know Pluto is in Capricorn, and we know Chiron is in Aries. Okay. And my Chiron is in Aries. So a lot of you who have Chiron in Aries right now is all about the wounded healer for you. It's all about healing. Okay. So a lot of you, when you have that Chiron in Aries, you know, you're aggressively working towards doing things that can help heal your heart, heal past trauma, these things. Okay. Okay. So now that we know where the planetary alignment is, let's talk about a little bit that has shifted into this week and what we need to know. So we know that on the 13th, which was Sunday, Saturn went retrograde, because right now Saturn and Neptune and Pluto are all retrograde. Okay. What we need to know is Saturn went retrograde on the 13th. What does that mean? Well, first of all, in the Vedic, it went retrograde in the sidereal Pisces, but in the nakshatra Uttara Bhadrapada, okay, until Thursday, November 22nd. Okay, y'all know I'll botch up the next chakras, but you can look it up yourself. Okay, but when it went retrograde, it makes Saturn more powerful. Okay, of course, when stuff spins the block, right? When it retrogrades, you know, they always say, oh, it makes it worse, it makes it bad, but sometimes it don't. Sometimes it makes it better when it retrogrades, because it's actually becoming more powerful. And if you are tapping in, this is a good time for you to be working with that energy, because it's so powerful and strong, right? And the times to work with Saturn is on Saturday, doing your mantras and doing tapping into that Saturn energy can help shift that for you, because Saturn, it underlies, has energy. And I know they tell you different in the Western and in the Vedic, but Saturn goes back in the spiritual astrology to Aries. Okay, so if you think about that, right, and I just told you that Chiron is in Aries, then that lets you know what is the energy of what is to come, right, and what we're dealing with. A lot of things that are going to go through segments of healing itself, but also are going to be traumatic. Okay, because Aries takes us back to the law of cause and effect, which is karma. Okay, and we know Saturn is about karma. It's about limitations. It's about restrictions. It's about things that you may be even feeling restricted, feeling more of influence about not being able to be stabilized, or things being just rocky for you around this time, right, because of that Saturn energy being extensive. Saturn is very powerful. Okay, but this is a good time to have situation awareness, right? To be aware of the things that are happening in your life and what's to come. This is a wonderful time for you to do the reads that I always talk about. We have 3 planets that's in retrograde. It's a great time for you to reassess some things, revisit some things. There will be some reconciliations of things, okay? Or people trying to spin the block, things trying to spin the block, okay? Reflection of things, right? Reevaluation of things, retreat and rest, the reads. So Saturn retrograde, this strength is definitely can appear as being messy times in life, messy times in the collective that we will start seeing. That Uttara Bhadrapada shares meaning of creation of structure, setting a foundation, property, and land, things that are concrete and practical. Saturn retrograde is areas of the life that can become more of a major focus. Okay. Um, We also know that Saturn retrograde, it talks about it may be making you feel like you're running a marathon right now. You know, things are going to be sped up as well. Okay, because remember that energy is fire. Okay, a lot of fire element right now, and I'm going to talk more about fire with the Mars and K2 that's coming up this week. So you see how the energies and the planetary alignments are very, very aggressive. It's like having a bonfire and it won't go out. Okay, you can either try to control your aspect of being around that bonfire, or you can be burnt. Get it? So there is a need to, once again, another reorient, right? And accept delays of things. So that means to pivot, right? Because there will be delays. Because Mercury is going retrograde on the 18th again, but we're in the shadow of that as well. So that will be technology outages, things that will be, that will go out during this time. This week is a very prime time where I'm going to talk more about that too. Um, so be conscious of that. That's why I said situation awareness. So now you know, so you won't be caught off guard. You'll come to mind, it'll come to mind that, wait, this is all the retrograde energy. So things are going to be a little out of whack. Take the time, do your breathing, calm your mind, step into your spiritual mindfulness and awareness during this time. And I'm going to keep reiterating that because that's what's going to help and save you. That's the solution. We must talk about it, but we must have solutions, right? So Saturn retrograde is commanding right now, family. Okay, started on the 13th. Okay, and we stroll into the 16th, which is July 16th, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow's the sun sidereal moves into Cancer. Although the Western already told you you in Cancer, but if you're not in the sky, we will be able to see it tomorrow. If you go on Sky Live or in your telescopes and look out at the sky when your babies took their first breath, that's born tomorrow. They will be true sidereal Cancer and Vedic sidereal Cancer. Okay, it's beginning of major practical importance of, where the sun is weak, right? During this time in between those signs, you still can feel that Gemini energy as well. But of course, with Cancerian, we know that energy flows in, and we know that that's going to bring in um, major emotional times for that person. But also, Cancers are very nurturing and so forth. So that Cancerian energy will soften it up a little bit in reference of um, the actual zodiac of the sun. Okay, but we're still dealing with the moon and the rest of the planets. Okay, that can shift that for us and just make us overly emotional about the other energies that are taking over that fire, right? Saturn is definitely also about making informed decisions, listening to your intuition, okay, which we're going in retrograde. So it's like a time where you really truly need to be tapped into that energy, okay? You may have some major health concerns that come back up around the heart. It could be things around the liver, okay, and so forth. I just wanted to push that out there because that is a lot of Saturn energy. It's a good time for you to be working with water, and being that we're moving into the water element, it's a good time to work with fire and water and earth. Well, look, work with all the elements is what I say, because I work with all of them. But this is the prime energy that's in the universe at the time, of what's strong. A lot of things on father, father, right? Because Mercury is about that energy, okay? So please, pay attention. But also Saturn is falls into the energy of your money, earnings, things of that sort. So you want to be very careful. We're going to see a lot of things about nations, right? Different countries and things like that. We'll see a lot about that, especially things that we'll see that could come about could be things that are very aggressively coming in around the countries we always talk about, right? The Russia. I mean, the Russia. Yeah, I said Russia. The Russias, the Saudi Arabias, the Middle Eastern countries, Iran's and Israel, and all these different countries and so forth, even Korea, right? So we'll see some things that come up about that as well. Okay, so we talked about the 16th, right? So strolling into the energy that I talked about with the Saturn. I got my notes with my Saturn retrograde, the Mercury retrograde on the 18th, but I still want to go back to Mars and K2 that are changing in reference of the energy coming in on the 18th. But let me reset this and look at, okay, the planetary alignment will shift a little bit. Okay, so we know that Mars and K2 will be coming in on, well, it came in yesterday strong, right, in the sixth house, and it's moving. It's still, the moon is still in Aquarius, okay? And I'm gonna pull some energy on the Gibbous waning energy. But what I do want you to know is right now is a prone time, being that Mars and K2 is conjunct in Leo. Um, it is definitely a time of more accidents and things like that that can occur. Okay, and the moon is moving from Aquarius to Pisces, but you know Aquarius is about the collective, it's about group, it's about technology, it's about those things, right? So with Mars and K2 coming together, there's going to be a lot of like I told you, you know, um, technology situations and confusion and mental instabilities and so forth when it comes to where the planetary alignment is. Okay, it's going to be a lot of things that are going to be revealed. Like the veil is going to be very, very low. Okay, during this time, so you'll be able to tap in very strongly. I keep telling you guys that to please tap in. But Mars and K2 family on the 18th, okay, because we're going to go ahead and move into the 18th of Mars and K2, um, where the moon will soon or later be in Aries. So you'll have all of this fiery element of energy, right? Because remember, we're moving from this week, we'll be moving from Aquarius to Pisces down to Aries energy, closer to the end of this week, the 18th, the 20th, you know, not a good time to be traveling, not a good time to be amongst big crowds of people. No, don't do it. Okay. It's not a good time to be just out and about moving fast. It's a very prone time of accidents, violence. Okay, Mars and K2 is very violent. And guess what? It's going to be in 21 degrees. 21 is Lepidus, which is also goes back to that Uranus energy and Venus energy in Taurus, which is very, very violent. We'll see a upbringing of a lot of unalivings, sexual assaults. With that Uranus energy, we'll see a lot of that, family. Okay, a lot of trickery, a lot of, you know, things that are going to be happening. So you got to be a lot of trauma. Okay, that 19th will bring the trauma, but the 18th will bring that Mercury retrograde. Okay, until August 11th. Okay, so Mercury retrograde will be moving into well, it still will be in Cancer until the 11th of August. But it comes in on the 18th, which is Dion energy. And that energy is very, 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 very volatile and wicked, evil energy. Okay. So, you know, Mercury retrograde in Cancer is the nakshatra Alicia. Ashleisha. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyways, it's the one that I always talk to you guys about, the snake serpent. See how it goes along with that? So you got all of these like fierce, right? Energy. It reminds me of Kali energy. Kali Ma, right? But this is the high emotional times, family. So it's the hunter prey control tactics, especially the form of shrewd and pointed debate. So just high volatile. So, you know, I say stay out the way. Okay. During this time, this week, okay, I'm saying, okay, the rest of July, okay, during this regression cycle, It's helpful to return oneself to one's center and reflect, which I already talked to you guys about, right? To sense the spilling over of urgencies and needing to respond and speak one's minds. A lot of arguments, a lot of fussing, a lot of fighting. All of that will be coming up. So it's going to be you having to be mindful and aware and accept that you're going to have to step back, step away from some things that may come your way, because it will. This is the time of temptation and the time that things will be fierce. Okay. The 20th is when Mars, which the 20th is on a Sunday. Okay. Mars and K2 will be exact sidereal in Leo. Okay. It will be at exact degrees in Leo, Mars and K2. Okay. And that energy, family, is going to be so strenuous that please, you must understand and hear me. Please stay out of the way. This is a very volatile conjunction that will bring a higher likelihood of sudden violence in the world and in your world. It can around this time. So we may see some world events, war, leaders being taken down. We could see a lot of things when Mars and K2 come in conjunction, family. This is not a good time to do stuff. Okay. And I want to pull a few cards around it. But what I wanted you to know is this week, starting from the 13th when Saturn went retrograde, moving into the change in the sidereal sign into Cancer, moving into the Mercury retrograde, right? And then moving into the 20th where Mars in that, fiery, fierce, south, it's in the south node. K2 is in the south node, and it's going to be the exact degrees. And I think I want to say it's either going to be, I wrote the degrees down, but my handwriting, family, sometimes gets to me. Okay. Okay. But do know that on the 19th also is critical, that you understand that it will move into another nakshatra. And that nakshatra, let me look at this. So the nakshatra on the 18th, family, will be Puva Poguni, okay, which is in K2, right? And it will also be that same nakshatra that is in Mars. Okay. Puva, Puva Palguni. Okay. Puva Palguni is definitely strong energy. Once again, of violence. I just have violence all over my page and emotional time. Outages, confusions, no travel, like please, aggressive times, okay? Fast movement. We're gonna see a lot of accidents, things of that sort. Fires, okay? Fires, okay? No large crowds, please, okay? But on the other aspect of things, this is a good time. Fire is like wands in the think about the wands in the Truesidereal. So this is a good time for those that are doing good, your creative sparks, right? Go getting whatever it is that you want, especially if you're into like careers that have to be self-motivators, like real estate and things like that, selling cars, doing those things. You're going to be more energized, and right now you're going to have a lot of energy when it comes to your creativeness, but it's going to be a hard time in reference of you sleeping as well, because of the energy being so strong and radiating in the it's like the Schumann resonance is going to be probably out of this world. I'm going to be watching mine on my phone. I always watch the Schumann resonance because that lets you know the low vibrational energy that is radiating here on this earth, and it's been very low. Okay. And you know what that brings? Chaos and destruction. So we're going to see it. Okay. This is a good time for you to prepare. Don't be scared. This is a good time for you to be connecting and pouring into your ancestors, doing your ancestor work strongly, okay? Because that's going to be your first line of protection, okay? And this is the solution: prayer, meditation. Eat healthy right now because you're going to need it. Maintain your mind. Watch what you're putting into your psyche. Okay. Watch what you're watching, you're listening to at this time, because it's going to be a lot of aggression that you'll hear, see, media, people. People are going to lose their minds. I'm just here to tell you. Okay. So you must stay grounded at this time. Work with your herbs, drink some herbal teas and things. All right. Get you plenty of rest if you can. Stay out the way. Stay home. Okay. So I wanted to reiterate that to you guys. I'm going to pull a few cards just in reference of this energy for this week, and I will do another reading as well. But this one I know is long, but it's very needed, and because it's for the whole week of July the 13th through the 19th. Okay, the 20th. I'm sorry. Okay, Mars and K2. Let me look at that 20th. The 20th. Submit. Yeah. On the 20th, it'll still be in that Mars and K2 will still be in Puva Palguni. Okay. And I think that's the one that looks like a knife. So that right there, swords and knives are like chaos, conflict. So you got to compare. They all line up, family. They all line up. And Mercury will be in Alicia still, which is that serpent. So deception, right? In communication. That will make you emotional because it's in Cancer. You see how that all lines up? It's a very, 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 very emotional, deceptive, violent, wicked energy time. And we know as spiritualists how to combat that with protection of your energy in your mind, your body, and your soul, your spirit. Connecting to the Most High and the ancestors. The ancestors show us messages of what we need to know for July the 14th through the 20th in this very radiating negative energy that we have. Ancestors, show me so I can speak to the collective in reference to a message. Just give me 3 cards. I don't want it to be that long for the collective today. What is it that we need to know? Yeah. Utilize your gifts. Utilize your gifts. Ancestors said we need empowerment right now in reference of the things that we need to change. Titan energy. Titan is definitely the energy of the ancestors, but it's also about, revenge on the opposition. We're going to see a lot of that. People going to be trying to get people revenge. This is a get back time, honey. And it's a lot of things that I'm seeing here in this message that the ancestors saying, and it's a lot of moon element as well. We need to pay attention to the moon elements, the moon phases, the deception. And there will be a lot of spiritual people with spiritual gifts. You need to be tapping in. You need to be tapping in right now. Okay. But you also, the spiritualists and the people that are very, very high prone in reference of your spiritual gifts, they will be heightened. But also understand those that are like that, you're going to be highly attacked as well, because the demonic forces has to go against those that are righteous. It's just the duality of things. But if you know how to protect your energy. You know what you have to do. Protect your mind, your body, and your soul, and your families. Okay. But this energy also goes back to knowing your strength, your spiritual abilities. Work with those things. Work with your ancestors. For those on the other side of things doing the good, this is a good time for good fortune, prosperity and abundance that comes out. That Titan energy is nothing but devilish energy, demonic forces with that Saturn moon. See how the Saturn coming back around? So right now you'll be seeing things that is like repeating cycles, temptations. You'll see a lot of things going on with men, fathers, you know. Um, this will be, I've talked about this on a few different things. It's like, don't get nervous, don't be in fear, family, because fear will take you out. Okay. And your nervous system being penetrated in reference of all the energies and the things that's happening here on earth that you may have never seen in your life will definitely start happening. Okay, so the answers just want you to know that you have great power. Use your gifts and be conscious of the deception and be empowered. Okay, because we got the Sedina. This is about self-love, loving on self, loving on others, putting that loving energy out through this strife, because we're going to need us as a collective and you to work with your ancestors and ask for that understanding, that mercy, repent, ask for the energy to be shifted, because we need an intervention in reference of these interruptions and these disruptions that are going to be happening and occurring. But we can shift the energy. There's power in numbers. And never, never, the message that has been all over since the beginning of this week, even today that I posted, never give up. Because the energy is going to be so strong this week in reference of the demonic force that is so strong with Mars, K2, Saturn, Neptune, all of them, right? Karmic energy is going to make people want to just give up and be in fear, okay? But you must turn that around with your awareness and your mindfulness, your righteousness. And never allow no one to make you feel like you can't have whatever it is that you desire in this lifetime, and know your power. You are spiritual beings living in a human experience. You must know this and continue to work with your ancestors. It's your first line of defense, and deities as well, okay? But much love to you. This is your message in reference of the Gibbous energy that's going on right now this week, which is a very strenuous week. From the ancestors, that message is here. I love you guys, and stay complete and know your power. I love you guys. Much love. Hit the like button. I'll see you soon here on the channel with the element reads. All right. Peace, family. Peace.